Very good evening to one and all. We'll start the session with a small prayer. Gently close your eyes. Sit comfortably. If you're sitting on a chair, keep your feet completely grounded on the floor. Thighs, knee, and calves in 90-90-90 position. Do not droop. Droop your thighs. Slowly bring your attention to the lower edges of the pubis, glutes, lower fibers of the abdomen, lumbar area. Nicely lift the lowermost abdominal wall and the lumbar corset. Lift them nicely up. Expand your ribcage. Gently push your shoulders back as if you're widening them and collapse them down nicely. Depress your shoulders. Tuck your abdomen in, support your lumbar area. Observe your neck, throat, back of your head, chin tucked in. Make the cranium feel completely unfelt, completely neutral. Give you a few breaths here. Pay attention to a few breaths of yours here. Keeping the posture intact. Focusing completely. Aligning your body and mind completely. In unison. Gently listen to the mantra. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram shankha chakrasidarinam sahasrashirasam shvetam pranamami patanjalim. Harihi Om. Gently rub your both palms and wait heat applied onto eyes, cheeks, front and back of your neck. And with a few blinks, open your eyes. Saluting Patanjali before Gita Paranam. One of the alike scholars and alike renditions, Bhagawad Gita and Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Many same principles, same jargons have been used by Rishi Patanjali and Lord Krishna in their renditions. Anyways, today we're going to listen to 2.61. Tani sarvani sanyamya Tani sarvani sanyamya युक्त आसीत मत्परः युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. So in line with the Sthita Prajna characteristics, the person whose wisdom is well established, we are learning one by one how in all factors he would revel in self, abide in the self, by working on every single factors around, mental, physical, emotional. We are seeing it. In that line, in the previous shloka, in the previous episode, we understood how powerful the sense organs are. Haranti prasabam manaha. Krishna says, the sense organs are powerful enough to abduct your mind away. Even if you have second thoughts, the sense objects are very strong and its affinity through your sense organs is very strong that it can take your mind away. So, how to work upon these sense organs? The solution is given in the 2.61 in this verse. However, we discussed about it a bit earlier also, but this is going to be clarified in this verse. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta. Yukta is the catchphrase here. What do you mean by yukta? When you literally translate, the word yukta means being perfect, being balanced. But yukta here clearly means how the mind of one unswervingly abides in the self. In spite of all distractions, in spite of all the worldly dramas and troubles, how can mind fight against all those things and then run for the mother? Run for that space, run for that peaceful bliss, and then goes onto her lap. That is yukta. And from here on, this word yukta, you would be finding it in repeated manner in many places in Gita. This is such a nice catchphrase. So whenever you see yukta, it is not only perfect and balanced, it could be perfect and balanced only when your mind abides by the self. What is, first we will, before moving into understanding the shloka, we will first understand, because proper understanding is the foundation of attitudinal change. Okay. Even if you find it more interesting and don't understand it properly, there would be no change in the attitude, there would be no cognitive attitude, there would be no behavioral change. There would be no, there would be no change in the attitude, there would be no change in the cognition, there would be no change in the behavior. Hence, understanding is very important. Now, what is mind abiding by self mean? In Narada Bhakti Sutras, Sage Narada says, Yad Jnatva Matto Bhavati, Tripto Bhavati. stabdho bhavati, atmaramo bhavati. After having realized the self, how does a person, how does a bhakta, how does a bhakti yogi, it is all about the characteristics of bhakta, bhakti yogi. So after having realized his self, after having abided by his Ishvara, of his favorite deity, Ishta Devata, what happens? Matto bhavati. He is always in infinite bliss. He is ecstatic in infinite bliss. Tripto bhavati, all contented. Stabdo bhavati. He is completely frozen in that love, in that immense love. Atma Ramo bhavati. He always sticks himself with the self. Mind getting abided by self is not coming and going. There is no coming and going. Like how we try to meditate, yeah, before the session starts or before any yoga sessions. Oh, this close encounter, and then we try to come back. Why? There's something that we don't understand. This piece cannot be eloquently described. So I don't know whether it is okay. I have to come back to my word. No? That resistance cannot be mind abiding by self. Mind abiding by self is complete, devoid of attachments of worldly affairs. Does that really mean a person, a householder, one who is a CEO in a company cannot be a bhakti yogi? Does that mean that while working, he cannot abide by self? Definitely he acts. Definitely he is a great performer. He well maintains the relationships. In all worldly affairs, he checks us the box. But at the same time, there is a distant relationship from the worldly affairs because of the proper understanding that they are impermanent. See, that's the point about any action. Any action you do in this world, it can be a good charitable one, it can be a noble one, it can be a generous one, it can be dharmika, it can be a ritual, vedika, it can be a religious action, it can be a spiritual action, any action for that matter. Action will always have, karma will always fructify into karma phalam, fruit of action. So the path of action, hence, is like the cobra poison. Very poisonous. Because you are bound by the fruit of action. So what happens when there is a good fruit of action? You will again come back to enjoy this good fruit. There is a bad action. There would be a bad fruit, bad outcome. You will again come back to enjoy, to get the worries to fructify. When the bad karmas fructify, you get sorrowful. You are there. You have to come back to enjoy that too. Yes. But how does a bhakti yogi, or any yogi for that matter, takes up his action? His worldly actions are converted into karma yoga, not normal actions, not mere actions. They become yoga skillfully. How? They know how to relinquish attachments from the action. very clearly saying, if I take up an action, I will always want the action to be good. For example, I took an examination today. What would be my motto while studying, while reading? This examination should go good. I should uh, come out well with flying colors. My presentation should be very much impressive, and the teachers should pronounce the name. Yes, Lalita, you did good. No, that's the kind of motive we always have while doing the action. But a sadhaka or a yogi does not worry about success or failure of the action. For him, real success is to how being strong even when there is a failure. That is his real success. Even if there is a failure, he would try to count on the spiritual gains in this failure. How am I gaining this inner maturity? How am I gaining this emotional maturity? How am I gaining this resilience? How am I finding myself equanimous between success and failures, mana apamana? This is the kind of yogic attitude that a yogi has. Hence, for him, delivering worldly actions is like playing football. It's very easy. He does not have any expectations that this has to go nice. This has worsened my day. No, because he counts on spiritual benefits. He works on gaining the growth factor, the mental growth factor, the inner maturity. And it is easy at the same time for him to abide his mind in this peaceful spot of him not getting identified in the body or in the mind. It becomes easy. Now, how coming let me just finish off the meaning of the shloka and then we'll talk about it a little further. Tani sarvani, all of them. All of what? All of sense organs. Sanyamya, have to be restrained. Restraint is not pushing down or putting heavy control, employing heavy control measures. No, withdrawal is restraining here. Okay, sanyama is nothing but withdrawal. No, like the tortoise analogy that we saw. Yeah, so withdrawal, sanyamya, yukta, getting abided by the self, grounded unto self. Asita matparaha, always being grounded into my intent. Into my intent. Krishna here is saying about him, that can be one kind of interpretation. Krishna can also speak in completely Advaitic manner. That is another interpretation. When I say I, when I say self, both denote the same. So when I say I, this is not the female. This is not the name bearer Lalita that I'm speaking. When I say I, that is the self. So there are two interpretations. Having your intent, like Aurelia once wrote in her messages, having pure intention, true intentions, completely attuned towards the Lord, that can be one interpretation. Having true and pure intentions completely attuned towards self, that is the second kind of interpretation. Yeah, so it is both Vishishtadvaitic and Advaitic in nature. We're not going into jargons here. Now, you got the point. Vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. For whom all the senses are under control, the awareness is firmly established. The prajna here means awareness of self, is firmly established. So, he is constantly working on his sense organs. What happens when he is when he is into the worldly actions, a constant deploying of sense organs happening there. Hence, he is very much aware when he employs his sense organs. Am I getting addicted to it? Am I getting completely involved into it? He is very much aware. Yukta, abiding himself in that self, in not identifying oneself in any name and form, nama, rupa, he sorts of exercises withdrawal. That's the power of control that we employ upon sense organs. So he tries to withdraw. Thereby, there is a definite connection between sense organs and sense object. Yes. But by withdrawing, he also makes a non-contact which says, I am not the enjoyer. You get the point? If Krishna is not saying do not have papanash for your dinner. Krishna is saying when your tongue and papanash is communed, there is bhoga, there is experience. Yes. But a yogi having the papanash is able to withdraw himself out, not gaining happiness out of eating the papanash, but being happy all by himself. Now you get the point. So that is contact and withdrawal, both together. Vasha, that is vasha, that is mastery, that is pure control, he says. Now, how is this even possible? Coming back to the ideas that I was mentioning, how he is doing his worldly actions. You give me papanash, will I enjoy? No. I would enjoy my rasagula, my gulab jamun. Yeah. As simple as that. When you have a better, a much more higher rasa, higher taste, higher sweet to enjoy, you sort of relinquish small sweetness. That is very easy. Yeah. You sort of get out of all those needs, requirements, because you're already enjoying much. Oh, this one. Okay. I am happy without that. Please don't give me. No. That's the kind of attitude a yogi, a sadhaka has. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartade. We already saw this shloka. The rasa, the taste that he has is, compared to all the tastes available in the world, is much, much more superior, is much, much more elated. Hence, he is completely drinking the goblet of elixir. Why will he fall into the trap of small sense pleasures? Hence, Krishna says, always ground yourself with highest, independent, unwavering happiness. What are we into this madness? I call it as suicidal madness. When we are after our sense organs and sense objects, it's suicidal madness of the mind. like the swarming of the bees which fall into the trap of the fire. It's like that. Yeah. It is suicidal madness of the mind if we fall into the trap of sense organs. Now, the yogi, knowing that these are all temporal happiness, all these object-based pleasures are temporal and needs a means all the time. You need to employ that particular means. You need to have a plate and a partner. You need to have a good boyfriend. You need to have good profession. You need to have good assets. Yeah, you need to have a good social esteem, self-esteem before society. No? So all these are not independent. You have to have some means to try to gain this. So sadhaka well understands this point and sorts of get out of this vicious cycle. I don't want this temporal happiness. I don't want this dependent happiness. I'm focusing on unwavering, independent, permanent happiness. Hence Narada says, Yat nyatva matto bhavati, tripto bhavati, stabdho bhavati, atmaramo bhavati. He's all contented. He's ever not sinking, huh? He's ever high in this love. Huh? He abides himself in that blissful self, blissful Atman. Why is it very important to take refuge in self? Why don't I work only on sense organs and then slowly find my mind to take the anchor? Let me just work here and then anchor my mind to the self. Why should I focus on highest bliss? It's a simple equation. One, sense organs are very powerful. When you start to work on them, they try to overpower you. Even in your body, there are certain muscles, certain sets of muscles which are very strong. Yeah. I was on that day addressing the shoulder girdle awareness, where I was mentioning how people shrug, how they keep their shoulders elevated all the time when they are stressed. These muscles are overpowering because they are powerful enough. The fibers of trapezius are powerful enough, and there are 5-6 muscles which are powerful, making you keep your shoulders elevated. Even in body, there are set of powerful muscles, there are set of weak muscles. Yeah, they have to be addressed. Similarly, inside your system, inside your antahkarana, there are certain things which are weak by nature, which are powerful in nature. Like your mind is always weakened by distractions. Like your intellect, it is always a bit weak when mind gets powerful, mind gets dominant. Sense organs are all powerful. Now, fighting the sense organs is going to be a big job all by itself. Yeah. And again, tasting failure there. So Krishna says, no, get grounded first. Get some glimpses of that bliss and start tasting that elixir now and then, very much timely. Get up early in the morning at 4, meditate. Suddenly, all of a sudden, people will say, now you're not angry, now you are not impulsive. Yes, I've started meditation, showing in my color. I started glowing. All these things happen. Now, energy, you are with the powerhouse of energy. When you are with that powerhouse, all the energy that is needed is very beautifully, equanimously, segmentally is driven forth from that powerhouse. Hence, you're not overexcited. Hence, you're not angry. Hence, you're not impulsive. Like, all these things comes from the mental layer, from the manomaya kosha. When you work from your mind, this is how your nature would be. You'll be impulsive, you'll be angry, you'll be overexcited, you'll be super duper happy, in the clouds when you get a ring. So that's how it is, right? So Krishna says, get a hold, take your ground. There is much more higher, much more better state of happiness state of ecstasy than the worldly pleasures gained through sense organs. What is all that you want through sense organs and sense pleasures? Happiness. Yes. You find the superior quality of happiness. Get endowed in that superior quality of happiness and then slowly start to work in communion, withdrawal. Communion, withdrawal. These two things have to go simultaneously, hand in hand together. If not done, it is very much incomplete. Sometimes it is impossible to do. Hence, sadhaka is very careful, very wise. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi. We saw that. Yeah. His mind is always endowed in spiritual gains. He is not after selfish, materialistic, not just money-oriented gain, just simple gains. I have to be profited. I have to gain a fame. I should be reputed well enough. It is not bad, but still it is a rajasika karma. Still it is a rajasika karma. It can't be sattvic. Sattvic action, sattvic karma, are those actions which benefits public at large, even if you're not benefited. That happens only when you are completely endowed in that powerhouse. And powerhouse starts to dictate you, this is how you need to speak, this is how you walk, this is how you stride. All the actions comes from Anandamaya Kosha. All the actions emerges out from Anandamaya Kosha. And that is more beautiful. That is more kushalata. That's more perfect, yukta, and balanced. I'll stop here for questions.